This is the School Success Podcast, a podcast for school leaders to learn from other school leaders what's working and what's not, and to get inspiration and encouragement, as well as strategies to grow school enrollment, connect with families, retain teachers, recruit teachers, and everything in between. You guys are heroes, and I cannot thank you enough for pouring into this next generation that's coming behind us. My goal is you will take at least one thing away from every episode that you can take back to your school to make it better than it is right now. Please enjoy the School Success Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Herzog Foundation.
Time for school.
Hey, School Success Makers. Welcome to another edition of the School Success Podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Slater. I'm joined by some new friends out of the great city and state of Chicago, Illinois, Miss Elizabeth Jamison-Dunn and Erika Lynn Whitehead. And they are at an amazing school called Catalyst Circle Rock Charter School. And they're doing some awesome things. I came across them online and was like, man, I got to have them on because I want to hear the story. Plus, I love the city of Chicago. It's where my home team, the Bears, are, even though none of them are Bears fans on this call. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll just forgive them. But before I dive in and take anything away from them, I want to make sure they introduce themselves. So let's start with Miss Elizabeth Jamison-Dunn. Introduce yourself, and then we'll get started in the podcast.
Sure. My name is Elizabeth Jamison-Dunn. I am the proud principal of Catalyst Circle Rock Charter School. I'm entering my 18th year with the school. I started back in 2007 as a founding teacher, as a Teach for America Corps member. I taught middle school for a few years, then I became director of instruction. And this marks my 10th year as principal here at Circle Rock. So I love my school to death. Originally from Chicago, South Side, grew up in Inglewood, attended Whitney Young High School, should have been a Dolphin, went on to Howard University, Dominican. Now I'm at ISU working on my doctorate in ed leadership, and I'm just really excited to be here.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone. I am Erika Lynn Whitehead. I am the proud assistant principal here at Catalyst Circle Rock. I am entering my 20th year in education. That's weird. I am an educator who just rose through the ranks. I started off as an instructional aide, then went to being a teacher, then an assistant principal, a principal, an instructional coach. I moved away for a little bit, came back to Chicago to start at Catalyst Circle Rock 10 years ago. So I've been with Liz now going into our 10th year together. I started as the director of instruction, and this is now my third year, I believe, as assistant principal. I am a graduate of Evergreen Park Community High School. So I was also born and raised on the south side of Chicago and then moved into the south suburbs. Should have been a Mustang, but that's okay. And then
okay, then not too much.
Then I went to Hampton University, the illustrious Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia, the real HU.
Oh no.
Came home, attended National Lewis for my master's, and now I'm also working on my doctorate at Concordia University, pursuing an EDD in educational administration. Super happy to be with you all today as well.
Man, that's awesome. Well, the first thing I picked up on is you guys are more passionate about high school sports than it sounds like NFL sports.
That's a Chicago thing. When you meet people from Chicago, the first what high school you go to, like,
very true.
It tells all the things.
Interesting. Okay. All right. And I'm guessing a ton of rivalry when it comes to high schools in Chicago then.
Yeah. And it's a lifelong rivalry. Like,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to know. I was homeschooled my whole life, so didn't really have any of that. So that was like, that's fun. All right. Well, I always like to start with this question before we jump into some of the school questions. So and I have been to Chicago. I love Chicago. Dad's from right outside Chicago. I'll have to ask him what high school he went to, but it wouldn't count, I guess, because it's technically not Chicago. But or is that right? Am I right to say that if it's not technically the city of Chicago, would it not count into the rivalry?
Yeah. I mean, technically, Erika wasn't in the city of Chicago.
I was going to say my rivals are suburban schools. So if he was in a suburban school, yeah, he might be my rival.
Okay. She's like, I got to ask now. I feel like, well, maybe I'll try and text him on this podcast. So, but I always want to ask this just in case when I visit again, because I went to a Bears game, got to go to another Bears game again. So I would say if I was to go, or anybody else listening would go to Chicago, what would you say they need to eat this and do this? What are the two things would you say that, hey, you need to eat this and do this when you come to Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have either a Chicago dog or deep dish pizza. That's just a rite of passage. And to do, I think you should go to the Sky Deck. And it used to be Sears Tower, now it's Willis Tower. You need to go to the Sky Deck. You need to go out into the little box and feel like you're standing on top of the city. I think that's quintessential Chicago tourism. That and the bean, of course. Yeah.
I guess for me, I'm gonna throw some South Side food in there. So you need to get you some Harold's chicken with mild sauce, fried heart, salt and pepper. Go to the South Side, and for pizza, I'm going to recommend Italian Fiesta pizza. We do a lot of deep dish. I know it's greasy, Erica, but I love Italian Fiesta. And I would say to do our river walk is really beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people are just like surprised when they go down there because it's been built up so much over the last couple of years. So if you are downtown and just walk on the river walk, get something to eat, maybe take an architecture tour. Chicago has beautiful architecture.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of great things to do here.
Okay. And now I have to ask this because I know it's a toss up. Pete's for deep dish pizza. I know it's between two companies and I literally am spacing their names, but everybody says you got to go to either this one or this one.
I think Giordano's for me.
I would say Lou Malnati's.
Maybe that's the two. There we go.
Those are probably the two.
Yeah, those are the two. And I've tried both and I don't, that's a tough one. I don't know which one, but they're both delicious.
They're both really good.
For Chicago. So, okay. Well, those are great suggestions. Thank you guys both for that. As we jump into the episode, let's do this. Let's get a little background on the actual school itself first, just a quick background on it, and then I'll jump into some of the questions I have for you guys.
Sure. So Catalyst Circle Rock is a K-8 charter school. We are located on the west side of Chicago in the Austin community. We have been around as a charter school for the last 18 years. We primarily serve African American students. We have about 520 children. Most of our children come from the neighborhood. We're about 93% free and reduced lunch. As a school, we really value teaching minds and touching hearts. We believe in holistic education, and we've been fortunate to have really strong retention for our students as well as our staff. So it's like a family here. We do prioritize the arts. So every single one of our students gets access to the arts in some format during in-school time. We have several community partners that help to provide us with different forms of dance and singing and tumbling and just all the things. And we really want to make sure our students feel valued and loved every single day. And we strive to just offer so many different types of programs because we want everybody to feel like they have something and somebody in our building and a place to shine. And so, Erica, would you add anything?
I would just add the thing that really drew me to Catalyst was the connection to kind of a greater mission. So we're loosely connected with LaSallian schools and the LaSallian network. And while that is a subset of Christian-based schools, and of course we are a public charter school, while they represent the faith-based sector, we really approach it from character education and a morality and values perspective. So we teach our kids not just academically, but we teach them how to be a good citizen. We teach them how to be a leader. We teach them how to be a contributor to their family, to their local and to their global community, so that when they leave us, like Liz said, we've not only taught their minds, but we've touched their hearts, and we teach them how to now go out into their communities and be that catalyst for change that they learned how to be while they were with us.
I love that, especially in Chicago, which I know like crime is high and different things. You want them to be there to help fix and not obviously add to any of that, but be assistance in helping what Chicago. It's a great city, so to helping what it is. Are you guys? I know you guys are only a K-8 school right now. Is there a plan to add a high schooler? And then if not, where are you telling them, hey, to carry on with something similar to what we are as a school, we suggest you go to this high school next? Is there any type of thing in the works for that? Hey, school success makers, just a really quick break from the episode to highlight our amazing sponsors over at America's Christian Credit Union. They are celebrating 65 years of service this year, and they provide essential school banking services and a tuition financing program for schools looking to reduce their risk and administrative burden. And you guys can find out all about them on their website, americaschristiancu.com/schools. That's americaschristiancu.com/schools. They are amazing over there, and I always like to say, if you're a school that collects tuition and you have a hard time collecting all of tuition at the end of the year, maybe it comes around May, June, you're like, man, we only got collected 95 or 98% of what tuition was owed to our school. One of the things you can do is have your parents get a tuition financing loan through the credit union, and then they pay the credit union directly, and you get your funds up front at the beginning of the year as the school. So you don't have to chase people throughout the year, and you can focus on what you do best, and that is loving and educating your students. And it doesn't cost your school anything to do it. So check them out online, americaschristiancu.com/schools. All right, back to the show.
So we are part of a charter network that consists of 2 schools, and so Catalyst Circle Rock, we're K-8, but we also have a Southside campus, Catalyst Maria, and they are K-12, and so that is an option. But we also have someone on our team who does graduate support and parent engagement, and she works with each one of our 8th graders to help try to find the best fit high school for them. So that might be other charter schools in the city. It could be a private school. We've sent about 4 students to selective enrollment schools last year. So we do try to take an individualistic approach with our students and find the schools where they are most likely to thrive. And we have people on our team to help set them up for success and also to kind of track their progress over the years.
Okay, love that. Diving into some of the questions for you guys, you've been doing this a very long time, so you, especially at one school, which I love that for diving really deep into these questions. What are some of the challenges you guys are up against as a school right now? Obviously, there's education's a hot topic, I feel like, right now in our country with where everything's at. So what are some of the challenges you guys specifically are facing, and then how are you trying right now to combat those challenges?
Liz, you want to go first?
I just talked. I was thinking like one before you because I just did the last one. Yeah.
That's something else we teach the kids. 3 before
Right.
me, but this is 1 before me.
Right.
So I would say, thinking about the day-to-day work that I do, one of the biggest challenges that we're seeing is the social emotional learning piece with our kiddos. I think that the pandemic, and we're still talking about the pandemic all these years later, but it really did a number on socialization for our kiddos, especially our younger babies. For those who in those formative years should have been experiencing daycare, should have been experiencing kindergarten, should have been playing in the sandbox where you learned how to play well with others, they were at home playing with others on screens. And while that provided some sort of interaction, we just know that live, in-person interaction, building connections, making relationships, it's so very necessary in those formative years because it sets you up for future success in interacting with the public, interacting with your teachers, understanding how to hold a conversation, understanding how to engage in a discussion, understanding just how to play well with others. And I think that because some of our babies missed out on a lot of that, we're still trying to play catch up for that. So we are a Leader in Me school. We teach the 7 habits of highly effective people to our scholars, and we teach them how being proactive can set you up for success. We teach them what it means to think win-win. Not everybody has to lose out in a situation. You can come to a win-win so that everybody walks away feeling heard, feeling satisfied with the outcome. We teach people to seek first to understand, then to be understood. And these are things that our kiddos need to know, not just so that they can pass a class or not so that they can just make a new friend, but so that when it comes time for us to send them out to represent us, we send our kiddos to a lot of different events across the city. And we're always, I want to say surprised, but then we're not because we know our kids. But it's always a pleasant surprise when I see a kid walk up and just extend that hand, shake that hand, introduce themselves, and be able to engage in that conversation. And I know that that's because they're getting some really good training from us as well as from home, and we're supplementing what's going on at home. So making sure that we have resources in place to build their social emotional capacity alongside their academic capacity.
Yeah, I totally agree, Erica. I think you did a great job of kind of elaborating on like the SEL cultural things. And so I guess I'll take the academic piece. Just like the pandemic impacted our students' ability to socialize well, it also had a significant impact on them academically. And yes, we are 4 years out, but we are still seeing some of the outcomes of students not being in school, because we had some students who, parents were able to provide that support at home, but some people, their parents had to go to work too. And we had some kids we didn't see for a year and a half. And so when you have, especially those who were in like those primary grades, that's foundational, who like miss
Mhm.
kindergarten to first grade, and then they come back in there in second grade, but they might still not know how to read or may not know their numbers. So we've been kind of working to fill those gaps over the years and really get strategic about how we address the issue of unlearned content while not perpetuating the achievement gap and making it bigger, because we're constantly focusing on content that might be 1 or 2 years behind. So we need to push
Mhm.
forward while still closing the gap. And we don't have a lot of, or really any examples. Like, it's not a time in history that we could look back on like, oh, this is what happened when the whole world shut down for 2 years. This is how they got the kids back on track. So we've been just kind of making it up, and like talking to other schools, like, what worked for you? How have you all been able to address like math? And math is a big thing in Illinois, and we're looking at like results on state exams, and nobody's really doing that great. So it's just
Mhm.
like, what are we gonna do? And that is something that is like this ongoing problem that we have to address. And in many ways, we're building a plane as we fly, because we don't have strong models to look at to say, this is what worked, this is the silver bullet.
Yeah.
So we're doing the best we can, and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and pivoting when needed, taking feedback, and just really having to be creative when how we address our academics, and making sure our culture is tight, because honestly, kids not gonna learn if they don't like you, if they don't enjoy their school,
Mhm.
if they have
Mhm.
like merry-go-round of teachers coming in and out. So we need to make sure our students
Mhm.
feel loved, protected, valued, supported here, that we have strong adults in front of them every single day who are going to be consistent and who are going to provide the students with exactly what they need to succeed. Meaning we as leaders need to make sure we create a work environment that people want to come back to every year, and they want to put that work in, because it's so many parts. And then with the parents, engaging them. We hear about the new math all the time. A lot of them don't know how to do this Common Core math. It's new. And so even with me, like, it's different than what I taught, 15 years ago.
Yes.
So sometimes I'm in the classroom taking notes with the kids, like, okay, now I get it. That's how you do that particular strategy. So just really getting creative about how we bring all stakeholders in to be able to actively support the education of our students, so that we are building a plane while we fly, but we flying real high, like we're doing really well as we do that.
Is is the charter school network, what is that landscape like in Illinois? Is are you like hated by a lot of people, just charter school in general, or is it supported really, really well by the state of Illinois when it comes to like what you guys like? You have a lot of freedom to be able to do what you want to do when it came to COVID and came to different things to be able to choose what you wanted to do, or is that a challenge in and of itself, navigating being a charter school in a huge public school, like just regular public school world?
We do have autonomy with some things, but we are a charter under the umbrella of Chicago Public Schools. So we're held accountable to a lot of the same expectations. We receive some similar supports, but there are also areas where we have to kind of work with, like the Illinois Network of Charter Schools, which is great, Inks, which brings us all together to be able to kind of combat some of the things that we're facing holistically. But I would say during COVID, we really had a lot of autonomy with how we handled it, and so Mr. Whitehead and I, we was just in here like, okay, how we gonna get the computers home? How we gonna get the kids' desk? We need to start an email chain, like, you know what I mean? We was just sitting here rattling it off and like, oh, we need to figure this out. But I would say that there is some tension when it comes to charters in Chicago and Illinois, issues with funding and things that create barriers. But I would say that I feel very supported by the network that we work with and like the people here. And I feel that we are able to do what is needed to the best of our ability to help our students to be successful. And I do appreciate the autonomy because you can take some calculated risk when it comes to addressing some of the issues that we see. And a lot of times it does pay off. And we're able to leverage different community partners that we have. The community of Austin, which is a very vibrant community on the west side of Chicago, and be a part of just the revitalization of this space and just making it the best that it absolutely can be. So yeah, so as a charter, we do have our challenges, but I'm very proud to be a charter school leader. And I feel like our network, we do a really good job of making sure our students have everything that they need.
Good. I think this would be probably a perfect segue into what's going really, really good. So I want to hear like what's going awesome at the school, give you a chance to brag about the school. But I think with that, I had some other questions, but I'm sure their answers are going to fall into what's going really, really good based on what you guys have already said. So one of those ones that popped in my head was you talked about, hey, it's so important that the students have teachers that are there regularly and that there's not turnover there. Has that not been an issue then for you guys? Has that been going good when it comes to teacher retention, teacher recruitment? Like you guys have been fine filling teacher roles and teachers have been there long term so the students see the same faces. Has that been the case for you guys? Hey, school success makers, Mitchell here. I just want to take a really quick break from the show to give a big, huge shout out to the Herzog Foundation. I absolutely love the Herzog Foundation. I've been friends and partners with them for a couple years now, but we're bringing it to a whole new level. And I'm excited to share that our very own School Success podcast is now featured on the Herzog Foundation Podcast Network. The Herzog Foundation is a powerhouse of resources designed to support schools like yours, from free training events through the Herzog Foundation Institute to their incredible online news publication, The Lion, and of course, our new podcast, Home. They have everything you need to stay informed and inspired. And if you're dreaming of starting your own Christian school or co-op, don't miss their online course, Schoolbox. It's a fantastic resource to help you get started on the right foot. At School Success, we're proud to partner with the Herzog Foundation to bring you these valuable tools and insights. So visit herzogfoundation.com to explore all they have to offer. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on these amazing opportunities for growth and success. And I love all the people over there, and I know you guys will too. So please go check them out, and you won't be disappointed. Now, back to the show.
That's been the case for us for probably at least 8 of the 10 years we've been in leadership together. This year for us is a little bit of an anomaly. We really like to support our teachers in achieving their dreams. So a lot of our teachers have gone back to school, gotten advanced degrees. A lot of our teachers are aspiring leaders and have entered principalship programs. So we did have some teachers who kind of stepped into leadership opportunities outside of our building, and we wholeheartedly support that. But prior to this year, our retention has been, I would say, 95, 97%. It's always been pretty high. And I think that's a testament, I know that's a testament to the culture that we really work hard to cultivate. And I do believe that is one of our greatest strengths. I think for all of the challenges that we experience, our kiddos love coming here every day. Not that every day is bouncing off the walls, everybody's having the time of their life, but there's something that draws everybody here every single day. Our attendance rate, as far as our kiddos are concerned, is pretty much higher than the district, and it has been for a number of years. And we do things like Win the Month assemblies, where we acknowledge teacher leaders and scholar leaders who've been pretty successful for the past month. We do TikTok timeouts. We allow kids to make TikToks of the latest dance trends and send them in, and we play them during the assemblies. And you would think it's a pep rally every single time. Kids get out of their seat, they dance in the aisles, they run down to the stage dancing. We do award ceremonies, we do cultural shows and presentations. We have a lot of external partners that are always asking us, can we come put on A hip hop dance show for your kids? Can we come do a hip hop opera for your kids? So our kids get exposed to a lot of opportunities. And again, that feeds the school culture. So our kids want to be here. And because we spend so much time with them, we can't help but be a family. And that's why we've been so blessed with our teacher retention, our staff retention. Because there is a sense of family, a sense of community. It's not just a job for everyone who works here because we're here so much. We've got teachers in the building right now getting their classrooms together for the upcoming school year, and they don't have to be here for another 2 weeks. We've got kids in the building right now helping teachers get their classrooms together, and they don't have to be here for another 3 weeks. Um, so just that to me is just a testament of the fact that number one, the kids are close enough to the teacher to want to come and help. But number two, they're excited to get back in the building, excited to start the new school year. And again, just a testament to the great culture that we have established and that we continue to work on every year.
To echo kind of what Erica was saying, just with our retention, I think that like for my leadership team, I was thinking about this as you were talking, Erica. Like you've been here the least amount of time of everybody on the leadership team, and she's going into
Mm-hmm.
year 10. And so everybody else on the leadership team has been, or all of us have been here 10 years or more. My three academic directors, SPED, all of them were teachers here, and they were able to be promoted into the MTSS leader, special education leader, and my director of instruction. And then my assistant dean, she started here with me 18 years ago as an instructional aide. Our dean, this is his 11th or 12th year with us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been really fortunate to have a solid leadership team that stays in place, and I think that helps teachers to just feel a little bit more stability when it comes to us. Also with our kids, and so I have several grandchildren here, and I call grandchildren who are like the kids of the kids that I taught 15, 16, 17 years. And so I have about 12 students who are actually the children of students I taught in 7th and 8th grade. We also have four alumni on staff, which is awesome. Our school culture coordinators, some of our instructional aides, they now work here. I mean, they went to Catalyst as students and they work here. And this year, we have a student teacher in 3rd grade. Young black boy from west side of Chicago, and he went to Catalyst, and so now he's in his senior year of college, trying to be a teacher. So it's good to be able to like have those deep roots and to bring the children back. And to me, it's such a great compliment um, for a child to say, "Hey, I enjoyed my experience there, so I trust you to educate my child and to take my child on." So I do take that as a very, very big responsibility to all the students. But to know that these kids went through this program at some point and they still want to engage us and to be a part of the community is definitely just reaffirming a lot of the work that we've been trying to do to create that family like community here.
I don't know if you guys need to market your school or not, like to get more students in, but that I would be using for your marketing. Like teachers have been this many teachers have been here over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
This many people are used to come here like I would add all of that to your marketing if you
Yeah.
don't if you need to fill seats or grow a waiting list or something, because that's something I know as a father, I'd be looking at things going, oh, they're having this new teachers every year come in, or oh, like all that makes you get, well, what's going on behind the scenes that I can't
Mm-hmm.
see?
Mm-hmm.
All red flags. So I love that you guys are having people that love, obviously they love their leadership they're getting from their principal and assistant principal. They're loving the students that they're around, the community they're with. That speaks volumes of the where you guys are at. So I love that. So if you need marketing, I would
We're
be
gonna add
adding
that
all
to the
that to your
website. We
stuff.
just had a website meeting right before this, so that could be one of the little
Yes.
40 quotes, little
We need
facts.
all
That's
of
a good
that.
suggestion.
Yeah.
We didn't even think of that.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. What else is going good? I know there's got to be some other things. Let's dive in some other things that are going good.
I think that we've done a great job of just providing a lot of fun extracurricular activities and programs
I
for our.
was just gonna say our external
Yes, we
partnerships.
have great
Yes.
external partnerships. So we partner with Wellness for All, which is ballroom dancing. It used to be called May I Have This Dance, so our children do ballroom dancing. We are with United Voices, formerly the Chicago's Children's Choir. We have a huge partnership with Sistema Ravinia. They do our orchestra program. They've been doing it for about 15 years now. The students practice about 10 hours a day. We have 50 children who participate in it, and we've had several students receive scholarships for high school, who go on to perform all over the city. We've had kids get into programs across the country in California. A lot of our kids go to Shy Arts, which is an art-based high school here in Chicago, and they use the work that they did with orchestra in order to inform that. We do Filipino martial arts with our students. We have been able to partner with organizations to offer some free programming. So we do hip hop dance, we have a tap dance program, we are bringing an opera program this year, African dance, and ballet. And all of these are offered during the school hours. And so if a child is with us kindergarten to eighth grade, like they will have the opportunity to really participate in about 8 or 9 different art-based programs,
Mhm.
which they love. We've done some things with drama, getting our kids on the stage, and we have we didn't mention the KCA. So our building
Yeah.
is located on the corner of Central and Washington, and it was a huge space that's adjacent to us that had been vacant for 60 plus years. And so Catalyst
Yeah.
launched this capital campaign. We needed to raise about $5.5 million to revitalize the space, and through work with the governor's office, the city, Ravinia. We had a lot of private donors. We were able to raise that money. In 2019, we had the grand opening of the KCA. It's a 900-seat state of the art auditorium located right here on the west side of Chicago. It's the largest of its kind on this side of the city. And we've been able to host like so many different events here. Some of the local schools who don't have their own auditorium space, they use our space for their graduations and their special ceremonies. We've partnered with Old Town School of Music to bring like different programs here, music of the Baroque. We had Africa Out West. Like it's so much that has been able to come. We've hosted mayoral debates. The 15th district of the Chicago Police Department, they have like their annual talent show here. So it's allowed our school to really become a part of a greater community. And we're able to open our doors to even like host local playwrights who need a space to showcase their work. And the best part about it is that when all of these different companies and people from all over the world come here, our kids get front row access. And so they're able to see like Brazilian artists and people from South Africa and just like a lot of dope performances. And it opens their eyes to something that they may not otherwise had even thought about or had access to. So that's something that's really important to us and something that we're excited about, because it makes us a bit unique, I think.
I love it.
Agreed.
Erica, anything else you want to add on that one?
I would say over the years, I've seen the growth that we as a staff have made in understanding the academic needs of our kids. Like we said before, just coming back from the pandemic and understanding the deficits that were there, but also understanding, like Liz said, that we can't continue to widen that achievement gap nor that opportunities gap. So as a staff, we had to get better faster. We had to ensure that we understood best practices around reading data, analyzing data, and then responding to the data. And that's a really hard skill to learn, but it's a skill that every educator needs to be able to learn, and needs to be able to do if they want to move kids forward. And as a staff, well, as a leadership team, we've cultivated professional development experiences for our team, to get better at understanding data, but not just understanding how to read it, but understanding how to respond to it. So we've brought on a lot of academic tools that we have seen some gains with. We, for example, started a partnership with the Illinois Writing Project. And going through that process last year and seeing our writing scores at the end of the year, we were, blown away. at how well the kids did. But that, again, just goes back to us continuing to hone our craft and work on the work, engaging in professional development, engaging in those professional learning communities, looking at scholar samples and exemplars, ensuring that our scholars understand and master skills, but also providing both enrichment and remediation for those who need it. So just making sure that we're always at the top of our game so that our scholars can have the very best education possible.
Love that. So I want to hit you with a curveball question, but I think you guys will be totally fine with it. But I love asking schools about fundraising. So through all this stuff that you guys, I mean, you talked about the capital campaign raising $5.5 million. That's awesome. So I would love to hear, just because I know this is something that comes up with schools regularly, is like, oh, we did the cookie dough fundraiser, we did this fundraiser, and it was really hard. We only made a few $1,000s. So I just love hearing what other schools are doing for fundraising. So are you guys actively doing any fundraisers throughout the year? And you're laughing, so I'm wondering, this is going to be really good. You know, we just finished the cookie dough one yesterday or whatever, but what are you guys doing for fundraising? What's worked and not?
So we've done. So yes, we do fundraisers. We have done cookie dough. We've done popcorn. The simple good, double good.
Double good. Yeah.
We were able to raise, like, the Secular Brotherhood, which is like our middle school male empowerment organization. They raised about $3,000 doing that, so that was a pretty good yield. We'll do things around the school. We will do like dress down days, or we will for like special occasions maybe do like different kind of bake sales, but it'll be all like store-bought things. But fundraiser is always an issue, but we do try to find the money for our kids when we need to. So we get kind of creative at times, or we'll have like a big party and like a glow party or something like that, and have, the kids might pay $5 or $10, but the school might eat the cost of it, so that all the proceeds can go towards something for the kids, because generally any money we collect just goes right back to them. But it's just a way of kind of crowdsourcing, because we do the most. We like to have fun, especially like after COVID. I felt like school became optional for a lot of people, so we was like, okay, let's make every day so lit that like they like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen today. So we started doing random stuff like scavenger hunts. Like I would have pictures of like famous Black folk around the building, and like in lockers under the tables or whatever. And I'm like, if you find a picture, you need to find out who that person is, bring it to my office at the end of the day, and you'll get a prize. Like little stuff like that, just to make, or like when we did that random Mardi Gras parade, for no reason. And we went around throwing beads and candy at kids. We had the cheerleaders dancing. We had the orchestra playing like New Orleans songs. Or we had, who was it? For St. Patrick's Day, one of our speech and language pathologists, he was Irish, and he was like, I have a leprechaun outfit. Can I wear it? We was like, sure. And we went to all the classrooms, and like, they took pictures with him. When he giving out candy or something, I don't know. He was like throwing.
He had like gold coins.
Yeah, he had like little gold coins. So because we do all those things do cost money sometimes. So we just got to get creative. And then we also budget some money too for our kids to have fun. But that's something that I would say we value. It got to the point where teachers was like, can we chill with all the, like, we need to teach math. I'm like, you're right. So we can cancel some of this stuff. It's getting a little out of control. But at first, we was just trying to make school so lit for kids that they just was like, I don't want to miss nothing. So we've been kind of calming down over the years, but we ain't fully answer your question. But Erika, come on now.
How many students you guys have at the school?
520.
500?
520.
520. Yeah, it's a big school. It's a lot of logistics. It's not like we're talking a little private school with 100 students.
Is that big?
Yeah, I don't think of it as big, but compared to some schools.
Yeah, so like a lot of the schools, like the ones like we work with, we have a lot in the 100, 200, 300 range for some schools.
Oh, okay.
Rolling out like fundraisers, a little easier when it comes to a lower thing. We're talking about 500 plus. Yes, a bigger school is 800 to like 1,000, and that's a whole different. It's just a whole different ball game when you're talking about like running a fundraiser, doing a Mardi Gras thing, like buying 100 chocolate coins for 100 kids instead of 500 coins for that's a whole different world.
That's true.
That's awesome. Well, as we kind of like look to probably wrap up the episode, I do want to end with a question for each of you to answer, and it's you've been in, obviously, like we talked about, education for a long time there at the school, so you have a lot of resources, a lot of knowledge. I would love to hear if you could put it into one apiece. What is that piece of advice that you would give? Even if it's to your younger self, maybe you could even word it like that. But ideally, for the other school leaders listening, what's that piece of advice you would give them?
I could start. I think for me, as school leader, it's important to know that like you don't have to know it all, you don't have to do it all. And I think coming into it, you kind of go into it with like this hero mindset, like it's my job to fix everything and to make everything great. But I read this article called Hero to Host, and to me, like my job is to make sure that everybody else can do their job really well, and that I'm growing leaders around me. So I do think making sure that you spend a lot of time getting the right people on your bus, and then really investing in distributive leadership, because the more people that you have leading in your space, the more investment, the more accountability, and a boulder isn't so heavy when you have several people helping you to hold it up. And so I think that as leaders, we just really need to give ourselves grace and know that you don't have to know everything. But you get people like Erika Lynn Whitehead on your team, and some of the other folks I have who can definitely help to make that load a little lighter, because it's hard, but it's always going to be hard. But it don't have to be hard all the time. Like you have people who can help you.
Awesome.
I always like to approach things from an empathetic space. And that's what I would probably encourage leaders to do. Pour into your people. Teaching is hard. Education, period, is hard. It doesn't matter if you're the school leader or if you're working in the cafeteria. Working with children and with families is a hard job. And a lot of times it doesn't end when the school day ends. So for a lot of our teachers, they may come to work to teach other people's kids and then have to go home and do the same thing with their kids. They're towing that line of giving enough during the day and having to give even more at night. And sometimes that can burn people out. People who don't have kids, they have other lives outside of the work that they're doing. And sometimes because we're so focused on ensuring that the kids do well and the kids are successful, we kind of lose sight of who we are as people and as humans. And it's okay to take a few minutes to just sit with a teacher or a team member and say, how are you doing? How's your family? What did you do for fun? What are you struggling with? How can I help you? Do you need a 5-minute break? I've walked into a classroom before and told the teacher, you got 30 minutes. I will be in here for 30 minutes. Go do something.
Or go
I
do
don't care what
nothing.
it is. Or go do nothing. Go sit in the teacher's lounge. Go take that bathroom break that you've been waiting to take for the past 3 hours, but just go somewhere else. I will be here for 30 minutes. This time is yours. So just always make sure that you remember that while you are working with professionals, you are also working with humans. And to take that time to cultivate those relationships, but always show that empathy.
That's so good. I love it. Well, ladies, thank you for taking time out of your day. I'm glad we got you before the school year began, because I'm sure you will like not have an hour to go hop on both of you at the same time to hop on a podcast. So I appreciate you taking time out of your summer to come talk, teach us about your school, and to teach all the other listeners about what you guys are doing. And I just want to say thank you for all the years you guys have put into
Thank you.
education. I really see teachers as heroes and what they're doing to pour into this next generation that's just coming up really quickly right behind us. So thank you for all those years and all those continued years I know you guys are going to continue to put in. I appreciate
Thank
both
you
of you.
so much for having us.
Yeah,
Much
we
appreciated.
appreciate you.
Well, another huge shout out and a thank you to Elizabeth and Erika for taking time and being on the podcast. I love what they're doing there in Chicago. I'm wishing them nothing but the best as they continue to pour into that next generation that is coming right behind us. So, again, ladies, thank you so much again for being on the podcast. Well, guys, as I've said, every week after the podcast, we have some great resources for you that we want to make sure you're checking out. 3 of them are completely free. And the first one is the one you're listening to right now, the School Success Podcast, free episodes dropping weekly. We want to make sure you're getting those and you're listening to them, sending them to your colleagues and your friends to be able to learn more about education and what different people are doing in the education space. So continue to tune in and listen. And we'd love, of course, your feedback on the podcast. So if you have any feedback or suggestions or people you'd love to see as a guest, or you think you'd be a good guest, reach out to us and let us know, which kind of brings us into the next one that's free. And it's go to our website, schoolsuccessmakers.com. That's schoolsuccessmakers.com. And you can do suggestions through there for the podcast. But also while you're on there, we have a free weekly report that goes out, and it is, you can find it on the website, top right-hand corner, the School Success Report. It goes out weekly. We want to make sure you're getting that. It's teacher information, some articles, some giveaways we're going to eventually be doing in there. It's going to be a lot of fun stuff with it. We have thousands of people that get that every week. We want to make sure you're a part of that. So make sure you're getting the School Success Report. And the last free resource we have is our community, and it is on Facebook, called School Success Makers. So make sure you're joining there. I'm personally in that community. Would love to see you in there as well. Feel free to ask questions, get to know other teachers and school leaders in the community. It's a great place to be. We want to make sure you're there as well. And yeah, we're here to serve you. We're here to help you. We're wishing you guys have an awesome school year, and we're here to help if you need it. So we'll be back here next week with another awesome guest as usual on the School Success Podcast. We'll see you then. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Herzog Foundation.